What's going on, everybody? I'm gonna give it like 5 minutes before I get started. I definitely want everybody to hear this. Um, so please share this, and I'll do some shout outs before we get started too. If y'all could share this, that would be great. Let me turn this down a little bit. All right, way better. I know y'all tired of seeing me today. I probably been getting your notifications blown up. But that's all right though. That's all right. It's a conversation we need to have. And I am doing shout outs. So I know I haven't done them in a while, so I wanted to do my shout outs knocked out too before we get started. By the way, actually, I'm gonna talk about this whenever we get started. I'm not gonna say it now. I'm gonna wait. That's weird. It's a lot of people for everybody to be so silent. I'm surprised. What y'all waiting in anticipation, or is my computer messing up, or is my internet not picking it all up? I know that happens sometimes. Everybody's waiting with bated breath. Give it about 1 more minute, and then we'll go ahead and get started. From the Isle of Manhattan. Y'all cold right now. I keep hearing how cold y'all are up there. I heard it's raining too. Nah, Savannah, honestly, I did not get shadow banned. I'm gonna tell you what happened. The truth is, I've been doing too many damn videos today, and YouTube is not happy. So they're like, real talk. It's YouTube is just not happy because I've been doing so many videos. So they're not sending out the notification. I mean, it's true. I've been doing a lot of videos today. So I'm just sending out these shares for people. But Rebecca Henry, what's going on? William, Savannah, Eric. Appreciate everybody being here. So, really quick before we get started, let me just say thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Let's start the show. All right. So before we begin talking about this issue, I do want to say, I want to give a trigger warning. If you are a victim or have been a victim of abuse, I just want to let you know that is going to be discussed in this video. And so if you could possibly be triggered by that, I just want to give you advance warning and advance notice so that you can not listen. Trust me, somebody will give you the play-by-play and the highlights. I promise you. So I just wanted to let everybody know that if you are watching, and it could be triggering to you before I begin this discussion. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I've been seeing on Twitter a lot that Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren should make up, but obviously it's more so Bernie should forgive Elizabeth Warren and they should get over it, or he should get over it. Bernie Sanders supporters should forget and forgive Elizabeth Warren and by definition, and necessarily so, not hold her accountable for what she did to Bernie Sanders. This is absolutely unacceptable. It is unacceptable. It is dangerous. It is very, very dangerous. If you've ever been a victim of emotional or psychological abuse, then you know what it looks like. Sometimes, however, it does take a while to figure out it's happening, right? What people are doing when they ask Bernie Sanders and his supporters to forgive and forget, they're asking Bernie Sanders and his supporters to remain in an emotionally abusive relationship. And I know many people think, oh man, you're being hyperbolic, right? But am I being hyperbolic? Am I? I want to give you this description. Really quick. This is from a website, in a hotline for people in abusive relationships. And this is the part where it talks about educating yourself. It says, understanding the dynamics of abuse is really important when supporting a person in an abusive relationship. A better understanding of these dynamics may help you develop more empathy for your friend or family member who is experiencing these things in their relationship. We know that the abuse is really about power and control. Part of maintaining that power and control requires the breakdown of a victim's self-esteem and self-worth. Gaslighting is a very common abusive tactic. Can even make a person question their own thoughts or understanding of reality. Leaving the relationship may seem like an easy solution, but it's important to recognize that leaving can be a very dangerous and challenging time for a victim. Many victims do not feel they have a choice. They are tied to their partners due to finances, children, supporters, housing, I would say infrastructure, if you're talking about politics, or disability, which I don't think is like that big of an issue, or even love or affinity for that individual, genuine affinity for that individual. It is also important to understand that abusive people can be very manipulative. After violence or verbal attacks happen, there is often a honeymoon period. The abuser may apologize, promise it will never happen again, or otherwise appear like a perfect partner for a time. However, this is an abusive tactic meant to keep the victim ensnared in the relationship, and it can even make the victim question whether the abuse is really, quote unquote, that bad. The victim may also believe that they could just do everything right. They do believe if they would just do everything right, their partner would stop the abuse and be that wonderful version of themselves all the time. An abusive partner knows that if they can keep their partner second guessing themselves, they will be less likely to feel empowered to take steps towards leaving. These are just a few of the complications that victims might face when thinking about ending an abusive relationship. If that didn't hit home for you, let me translate that into political terms. Understanding what we know about American political ideology, the left is primarily made up of the most marginalized people in this country. In fact, because of the marginalization, it's usually how you become a progressive. The marginalized being people who have been abused by society in various ways and then left and abandoned. And then when it's time to, when people in power, right, need you for them to maintain their power, they guilt trip you into coming back and participating blindly into the institutions, the very institutions that have left you hanging high and dry. That is the left. The marginalized and the left, once again, they actually oftentimes are people who actually experience legitimate abuse, like personal abuse in their lives in one form or another. People on the left are generally, or at least progressives, I should say. They're oftentimes very empathic and because of that, because of their experiences. And they wear their emotions on their sleeves because of the trauma they've experienced throughout their entire lives. If you know anything about abuse victims, as this article just pointed out to us, You get abused once, you don't just walk away. Unfortunately, you go back often for the reasons, once again, listed in the article. What we saw happen with Warren in 2016 was Bernie tried to get Warren to run. Bernie didn't, or Bernie couldn't convince her, I guess, because she decided not to run. Bernie ran. Warren pretended as if she was an ally with him this entire time. She even coaxed all of us that year, before the primaries got closer. She coaxed all of us. She was saying the right things. And then every now and then she would say something really nice about Hillary and we were confused. But we said, hey, you know what? Maybe she's just being really nice. But maybe if Bernie's just better, maybe if Bernie's just a better candidate, then Warren would do the right thing. We know the end of that story. Warren did not do the right thing, did she? She did not. She left him high and dry. And once again, especially now that we've had more exposure to both of them, this is somebody that she supposedly considered a friend and somebody who had actually already endorsed her. And she hadn't even announced to run as president yet. So after acknowledging that the elections were rigged, after acknowledging that she was still going to try and be the VP pick, or she didn't acknowledge it, but the sources already came out and leaked it, that they were meeting about that. And then, of course, after endorsing Hillary Clinton, while staying silent about the election rigging that she acknowledged that she knew about, on TYT, she moves forward, okay? She moves forward and then pretends like none of it happened, right? What do they say? There's the honeymoon period. We move on. Me and Bernie are perfect. What are you talking about? We're friends. Bernie, we're friends. I know you, 2016, it was my fault. It was just bad judgment. It was just bad. I know you're going to forgive me, right? Because you're just that nice of a person. Bernie, we fought for so much already. Let's not ruin it. Sound familiar? During this time, Bernie was speaking up for the indigenous in Standing Rock. He was actually campaigning, so he didn't get a chance to go to North Dakota, but he did speak up several times for the indigenous Standing Rock, traveling around the country, speaking for people in Disney, speaking up for Ilhan Omar without equivocation. I mean, you know how the story goes. I shouldn't have to explain this to you. Warren was riding his coattails on Twitter anytime she could, clearly setting herself up for a presidential run. So we fast forward again. The entire time, as emotional and sometimes physical abusers are known to do, that they were running for president and she took all the resources that made him an exceptional candidate. She used them for herself. Fill her own political bank account, if you will. Take the car without asking. Maybe drive around in that Medicare for all for a little bit before wrecking it. And saying, well, actually, I really wanted this car, babe. Can we just get this car instead? You got it, right? You're going to back me up on this, right? I know you're not going to attack me. We're getting along. We're fine. Don't worry. I got you. We're going to get married. I know. Trust me. We're going to get married. It's cool. Then, after Bernie Sanders defended her and did so publicly against Center for American Progress, she, as we know now, leaked the story to CNN, saying that Bernie Sanders told her that he did not believe a woman could run for president, which is, once again, super weird because he literally told her she could be the president. And that story, by the way, about him in 2015 is old. That's old. That's an old story, but the neoliberal establishment didn't know. So it probably caught them off guard. And it probably caught Warren off guard because, once again, Abusers are always caught off guard when the abused stand up for themselves. When she finally gets caught, and oh, by the way, first, I skipped a step. What happened next? She claimed that Bernie personally sent a supporter, or were sending supporters to attack her. Is that not gaslighting? I think so. And she fundraised off of it, seeking sympathy. When you're the abuser. But you go online. I know you've seen those people go online, go on social media, and when they're the emotional abusers, when they're the energy vampires, and they'll go and blame the significant other. Then she takes it a step further, leaks the story to CNN, which I just talked about, gets corrected by Bernie in a very nice way the first time, as once again, Warren is the abuser. She can take it up 3 octanes. Bernie must remain passive and docile in these situations because she will gaslight him again. And as it always is, once again, it's public perception. She gaslights, he loses. So being aware of this, as most abused are, he says his piece, but says it very low and tries to move on as fast as possible because he knows what comes next if he doesn't. But they get on stage and before they get on stage, Elizabeth Warren actually wrote in a tweet, or in a press release, Bernie did say that. But he's my friend. We get along great. We're going to work together for this movement, right? We're going to keep this movement alive. We're not going to break this family up. Right, Bernie? I know we're not going to break this family up, right, Bernie? Because we've worked too hard for it together, right, Bernie? Yeah, that's what I thought. So then she gets on stage after this whole ordeal. Obviously, y'all know how that story goes. Bernie speaks up for himself in a much nicer way than most of us would have. And Warren, instead of addressing anything that Bernie Sanders said, what did Elizabeth Warren do? She gaslighted him. What did that article just say? Abusers can gaslight you. And then, if I want to quote, because what did she say? I'm the only person on this stage. That has beaten an incumbent Republican in 30 years. That was a lie Bernie Sanders had as well. But what did the article say? We know that abuse is really about power and control. Part of maintaining that power and control requires the breakdown of a victim's self-esteem and self-worth. Gaslighting is a very common abuse tactic. Can even make a person question their own thoughts or understanding of reality. What did I just describe to you? What did I just describe to you? And after Elizabeth Warren got proven wrong in front of the entire world, what do abusers do when they get exposed? They gaslight. And the emotional abusers, they're the best at it. And anybody who's been a victim of emotional abuse knows they're the ones who are the most eloquent on social media. They've convinced, they've got all their family and all their friends convinced. They got them convinced that you are the one that's the problem, and you're lying because you're just trying to gain something from them. And at the end of that debate, you had Handshake Gate, where once again, Elizabeth Warren gaslighted by not shaking Bernie's hand, making it seem once again like she was so upset with him because he was in the wrong, because that's the perception one would get if you have no idea what's going on. Wow, because that's human, right? If she's not shaking his hand, she must be mad at him, and that must mean Bernie is guilty. So can we safely say right now at this point, after everything I just described to y'all, that the relationship between Bernie and Warren has been, at bare minimum, an emotionally abusive relationship based on Warren's necessity or desire for power and gain, like the article just described? Can we say that every time that Warren has been wrong, she gaslights and then makes Bernie question his self-esteem, as if you don't want to support me after I'm calling you a friend, then Bernie, you're the one who's in the wrong. I'm still trying to be your friend. I want to make up for this. So I think that we can agree. Now here's where it gets dangerous. Like I said, most of the left in America are made up of the marginalized. That's how we generally end up on this side of the fence. And the marginalized, once again, are those who are oftentimes abused by society, and oftentimes, once again, abused actually in their lives, and then they're left and abandoned, and then they're demanded to come back and participate in the very society in different ways, institutions, voting, and like ways like what we're seeing right now, after they were used and abused. Now, although some of these people are well-meaning, some of these people are definitely well-meaning, a lot of them are not. And even the well-meaning ones are wrong, because you have a lot of people with blue check marks, a lot of people with power, a lot of people in powerful positions, right? All saying, and he's from Bernie's camp and Warren's camp, Bernie and Warren have to make up. They have to make up. Bernie supporters, don't go at Warren. Don't call her out for this. This isn't helping anybody. Oh my God, you're splitting up the family. Oh my God, what's the family going to say? Or do you not think about anybody but yourself? Sound familiar? You can't tell anybody. Can't tell anybody about this. Well, why not? Well, because such and such is friends with such and such, whose family was such and such. It's just going to cause too many problems. It's going to make things awkward. Don't say anything. Can you get over it? Can you just make up, please? Thanks for the super chat. None of your business. We have to turn our attention back to Biden. Any tips on avoiding more 2016 style election fraud shenanigans? Yeah, but I'm not going to talk about them in this particular video. I appreciate the super chat though. So the people in power are the ones who started, and then of course all of their supporters start buying into it a bit. But primarily, who we have to worry about is the one who has been abused more than anybody else in the situation, which is indeed Bernie Sanders. It is absolutely Bernie Sanders. Because he is an empath. He is an empathic person. Bernie Sanders cares very deeply about this world, humanity, and all the things in it. And he doesn't like seeing anybody hurt. He doesn't like being mean to anybody. He gets angry over the shit that we should all be rightfully angry over. So people, even though his supporters are like, yeah, hell, to hell with Warren. Look what he did. There's still this possibility, right? There's still this possibility at the end of the day that the abused might go back to the abuser. And that, because that's what happens with good friends. You always support them. Well, I guess we'll have to give her another chance. I guess we'll have to give her another chance. And once again, the left is made up of the marginalized and the abused in one form or another. And the marginalized that become the abused, there is a 100% return rate for people in abusive relationships. You will always go back at least once. Always. Now, the people in power who are telling you, get over it, man, it's just like, if you're young and something happens to you, and they tell you you got your parents and your uncles and people like and your aunts, don't say anything about it. Just make up. Just get over it. Because once again, we know that abuse is really about power and control. And maintaining a part of power and control requires the breaking of a victim's self-esteem and sense of self-worth. What does can we pretend like Warren didn't assassinate Bernie's character? If we don't keep the family together, then Biden's gonna win. Do you want to be responsible for Joe Biden? I know you, because you're a real progressive, and I know you don't want to be responsible for Joe Biden, right? You don't want to be that person, so you're gonna get over this. You're not gonna talk about this anymore. And those blue check marks, well, they get to keep playing both sides, huh? They get to keep playing both sides without worrying about repercussions from you. Because at the end of the day, you do control, in one form or another, how much popularity they have and like the narrative that they're going to pursue to maintain that popularity. But I want to be very clear about something. There's a reason AOC has been silent. There's a reason Ilhan Omar has been silent. Rashida Tlaib deleted her tweet in support of Bernie. Because, well, it's an emotionally abusive relationship. They have a realistic fear. Whether it's right or wrong, I believe that they should be standing up for Bernie. But I want you all to think about this from an empathetic level. They have a real fear. They have a genuine fear as women of color who know what it means to stand up to a white woman in these situations. And if you don't know, you better ask somebody. They tweet out and support the abused. Now the abuser may come down on them. And anybody who would, once again, if you've been, God forbid I hope none of my followers have been in a seriously abusive relationship, but if you have been in one or you know someone, you know the abuser will come down on your friends too. They will come down on your friends. They will manipulate your friends. That is why what we are seeing is extremely dangerous and it must stop. They are asking Bernie Sanders and his supporters to re-engage with a person whom we know is abusive. We know she's emotionally abusive. We know she's a manipulator. We know she's an energy vampire. Oh man, I just called up what Love Rain Thunder said. The abuser will and they will turn your friends against you. Whoo! That is, I've seen it. I've had to fight an abuser before, so like I saw all of this happen out in front of me. Like I've had to beat an abuser's ass before. Unfortunately, that person was abusing my sister. So when I say I know, I know. We have a lot of desperate people in this movement, and that's why we fight so hard. And that is nothing to be ashamed of. That's why we take things so hard, and that's nothing to be ashamed of, people. But that means we have to be a little bit more conscious of when we are being manipulated. And right now, what I have been seeing all over Twitter is the powerful, the ones who stand to gain from taking advantage of the popularity of both Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, telling us to not split up the family. Because at the end of the day, abuse is about the maintaining of power It absolutely is. It's about breaking the spirit, maintaining power and control. And you can't say, why would AOC knows, she's quite aware that she did endorse the most popular person in the country. She knows that. So what's the problem? She knows she's in the right. If she knows she's in the right, why can't she just go speak out about it? Because when you're in an abusive relationship, you can know you're in the right, but you question. Once again, you break down the person's self-esteem. They begin to question reality. They begin to question their own thoughts. Am I right or am I wrong? And I know, and AOC is, she likes attention, right? And it is what it is. Like, it's just one of her things. Ilhan Omar isn't necessarily a fan of attention as much, but Ilhan Omar has absolutely been emotionally and verbally abused already by her own party in ways that AOC has never experienced and does not want to experience, because it is terrifying. And for what Ilhan Omar experienced, she got it from both parties. So she knows she's a black refugee, Muslim. I know I should stand up for him. I know it should be really easy. I know I endorsed him. I know he supports women. But what if I'm abused again? If I speak out, they might quote unquote hit me next. What we are seeing is very dangerous, and it needs to fucking stop. And I mean that shit. You see it, you shut that shit down immediately. You shut it down immediately, because it is dangerous. It is very, very, very dangerous. And that is not a game we can partake in. That is not a game we can play. Like I said, everybody, if you're not desperate for change, well, lucky fucking you. I'm not exactly poor anymore, but I'm still desperate for change. I remember what I went through growing up. I remember what my mom went through. I remember conversations I have with my mom now about her fears for the future and for her security. I have a nephew and 2 nieces, and I fear for them. Everybody should be desperate for change, but we cannot allow them to take that desperation and weaponize it against us. And that is what they are doing, and that is what abusers do. Elizabeth Warren emotionally abused Bernie Sanders, and her enablers emotionally or attempted to emotionally abuse everyone who's tried to stand up for Bernie over and over and over again against Elizabeth Warren's abuse. And as protectors of abusers generally do, every time we would try to call out the abuser, they would then abuse us. So, I just really felt like that needed to be said. And so I appreciate you all sticking around for that. And I know, like I said, this isn't for everybody. And I hope that you didn't watch it if it was a triggering message for you, because I understand how that is. But, yo, nope. Hell no. Fuck that. That whole, we got to keep the family together to stop this. We can't. Because what's next? Oh, we got to stop Biden. Okay, then who next? Oh, we got to stop Buttigieg. Okay, so then what? Oh, we got to stop. And then somehow, some way, after all of them get eliminated, because Biden is not going to go anywhere, he's about to be the Jeb Bush of the Democratic Party, and you can bet on that. Or the fucking Biden of the Democratic Party, who's literally still not one shit. Then, guess who we end up with at the end of all this? The abuser. And guess who the abused is going to endorse? Because that's how it always ends. he's going to endorse his abuser. Shane Mora, appreciate the super chat. Bernie as a person was betrayed. Again, can you imagine what that meant after everything on television? That was awful. 100% agree, bro. 100%. I 100% agree. And I even want to talk about what do abusers make you do? What do abusers make you do? God forbid, like I said, God forbid any of you have ever been in an abusive relationship. But once again, I also know how common it is. And what do emotional abusers and physical abusers make you do? First, actually, the allies who are telling the world you are being abused, that they know they can see through your bullshit, they can sniff it out quickly before you. The friend the abused doesn't even have to tell the friend that they're being abused. They sense it from the abuser immediately. They cut that person off. You are not allowed to talk to them. Hey, homies, you see her talking to them? You see him talking to them? You shut that shit down. You can't bring that friend around here. If you do, that says something about your character. Don't do that. She's going to stop you from being successful. That's what's going to happen. She's jealous of you. She's trying to stop you. She's trying to break us up. That's what she's trying to do. And that friend, oftentimes, the one who tries their hardest to speak up for you and pull you out of that situation, trying their hardest to be as empathetic and understanding as possible, but still forcefully, and rightfully so, trying to get you out of that situation, that's the friend that ends up getting cut off first. That's the friend that ends up getting cut off first. And when you see what's transpired with Tulsi and understand psychologically what Bernie has to be going through, because he is an empath for sure. I've met him in person. I've talked to him. And I've talked about how the first conversation we had and the conversation I had with Jane, and I understand Bernie cares way too much about what people think of him. That's one of the things that makes him great, and it's also one of his biggest character flaws, and that all comes with being an empath. So that means everything that happens, everything that transpires, he feels it double or even triple. And once again, the first thing abusers do, they make you cut off the people who can tell you how abused you've been and how you need to leave. Now, Tulsi and Bernie are still friends. I want to make that clear. But once again, clearly, and this is indisputable, Bernie he's second-guessed himself on defending Tulsi. One time, he even defended the DNC. He defended his abuser. And he defends, Warren, who was his abuser, thinking if I do everything right, maybe I'll get Warren's delegates. Maybe I'll get Warren's caucus goer. If I do everything right, maybe she'll endorse me. If I do everything right, if I call her a friend. No. In an abusive relationship, you can't. There's nothing you can do that's right. And Warren has shown to be a lifelong manipulator. And we got to stop it. We cannot allow them to get away with that type of shit. Stop letting these people in power try to maintain power through forcing another alliance with Bernie and Tulsi after what she did, and absolutely refuses to even acknowledge she did. Like, this is what I'm telling you, by the way. I'm not saying that this is a metaphor for Bernie is being emotionally abused. His supporters are being emotionally abused by Elizabeth Warren and the people in power who ally with her, who could benefit off the popularity of both of them and profit off the popularity of both of them. This is not a metaphor. This is reality. And we cannot allow it to happen. So thank you all so much for tuning into that segment of Mikasa Sukasa. I hope you all really listened to it and took it to heart, because like I said, this is a personal issue for me. My sister has been abused, and that shit was very difficult for me as a man to deal with. Because the first thing you want to do is kill the person who did. And you can't do that. But you can stand up. You can make sure you can talk and acknowledge it and help other people acknowledge it. The ones being abused, acknowledge it and make sure that doesn't happen to them and that it doesn't become a reoccurring thing. The first and foremost, people, we got to acknowledge that it's happening, because it is happening. That gaslighting, that's just I don't know if other people have felt it, but whenever Elizabeth Warren begins to gaslight in the way that she does, I like get this burning sensation in the back of my ears, because you like, and I even said this I said on camera the other day when I was reading her. I said, I can't figure out what the fuck this is I'm feeling, but I know that there's a word for this. I can't remember what situation this is, but I know what this is. And it clicked. When I was reading through Twitter today, it clicked. She's a fucking emotionally abusive person. She's a manipulative person. This is what abusers do. And not in this movement. We don't got no time for that. And there are way too many people who have learned that the marginalized can be emotionally abused and have tried to take advantage of it. I ain't gonna say no names. You know who they are already. And it's the ones who have the most power to sway the movement one way or the other, the gatekeepers. Because if you haven't noticed, in real life, outside of politics, it's generally the gatekeepers who are always the abusive ones anyway. That's not a coincidence. Nat, what's up, Nat? Appreciate the super chat. How does it feel to know you've been vindicated? It's good. It's good. The hardest part for me, like I said in my show the other day, was like damn, it sucks to know that I'm being vindicated by the fact that I said January and February, I said the moment that Warren calls out Bernie, now all of a sudden the white saviors who, uplift Bernie for their own personal gain, all of a sudden they'll acknowledge what we've been saying, but it won't be because of the indigenous. It won't be because of the Palestinians she's thrown under the bus. It won't be because of the kids who are being bombed with the bombs that we pay with money she's approved time and time again. It won't be the people who are starving in Venezuela, as she said, that she recognizes Juan Guaido alongside Donald Trump. It won't be for any of those reasons. It'll be because the one thing that outranks a white woman when it comes to gaslighting and getting away with bullshit in society is a white man. You ain't getting away with that, especially with one who actually has integrity and character. And she messed with the wrong demographic. And that's why. It has nothing to do with people who look like you or I, Natalie. And so it sucks being vindicated when your movement is as racially and implicitly ignorant as you had always thought it was, and you feel like you can't do anything about it. So it's nice being vindicated, but it's not nice knowing that it isn't going to change anytime soon. Because if it took just one guy that everybody likes for it to finally affect it, oh man, now that Warren's attacked my guy, I guess I don't like him anymore. I don't trust her now. Lied about being Native American, created a plagiarized cookbook called Pow Wow Chow, stole somebody's job at Harvard that they probably more so deserved than she did, and then threw Native Americans under the bus. It sucks being vindicated when you know shit ain't gonna change. I ain't gonna lie. I wish it did. I genuinely wish I feel like the movement is going to be more unified. I definitely feel like that. But the gatekeepers are still the gatekeepers. The gatekeepers are still the gatekeepers. The Michael Brooks are still the Michael Brooks. The Sam Cedars are still the Sam Cedars. The Anna Kasparians and the TYTs. Like I said, I talked about this with Justin Jackson earlier today. It was the white progressive elite who told everybody, you better accept Elizabeth Warren as a progressive. You can accept her second, but what you're not going to do is you're not going to be a person of color and call her out and hold her accountable, because we will shut you down. And what you're not going to do, what you're definitely not going to do, is allow that woman of color, Tulsi Gabbard, to take her place, because that's our glass ceiling. We go through it first. So yeah, you can like Bernie Sanders because he has his use to our movement. Our movement, that was not, I meant, theirs. But that woman, that Polynesian woman, she gonna have to wait her turn. It's us first. And like I said, and I firmly believe this, and I guarantee you Nina knows it too. If she would have ran instead of Tulsi, for example, Nina would have caught it worse than Tulsi has. And I firmly believe that. And I think Tulsi believes it too. And that's the problem with our movement. They love Nina. I mean, Nina's amazing. Nina's absolutely amazing. She is. Like, everybody. Literally everybody. If you're in the progressive movement, you don't like Nina, there's something wrong with you. But that same firebrand, that same personality everybody loves, because of her unwavering, principled stances. Oh, you dare run against the man who made you? Like I said, you think we don't have a problem with black women, with race in the progressive media circles? The most to this day, you after 2016, that shit ain't a question. This is the most influential circle of the progressive movement. We change and affect the conversation of everything. And if you don't think we have a race problem in this fucking circle, ask all the black women. Ask where they at. Where they at? They don't exist. They don't exist. So yeah, we got a problem. And those gatekeepers are still there. And those gatekeepers refuse to acknowledge. They don't even acknowledge what they did. So how are we expected to change? You have Emma Vigilant. Warren's still a progressive. You better accept her. We better unite. Keep the family together. My job next year depends on it. CNN just released the audio of the handshake. Oh, that's gonna be interesting. Why did Cenk defend Warren on the Bernie smear? Okay, so I'm gonna say this again. The white gatekeepers who all told you and demanded that you give exception to Warren's past of abuse, emotional abuse, manipulation, those same people are still gatekeepers. That's why. And then once again, in case you came coming in late, we read an article that discussed abuse is about power and control. They will gaslight you. They will make you second guess yourself. They will make you question what reality is. They will attack your self-esteem. They will make you feel guilty. They oftentimes attack your intelligence. They will make you feel. How many times, an interaction that I actually never will forget with Michael Brooks that I had, that I actually took very personal, and it's weird because I don't usually take shit like that personal on Twitter, especially from people I don't really respect. Me and Michael Brooks were engaged in a conversation about Tulsi, and everybody, Michael Brooks, everybody else, that boy loves talking like, oh, I'll debate you. That's what Sam Cedar, Michael Brooks had been come to be known for. That's why everybody had brought it up to me. And so we were going back and forth on Twitter. I can't even tell you to this day what it was about. He was bullshitting, basically. It was a lie. And somebody had brought up, yo, man, why don't y'all just debate? Because that's what y'all both have strong opinions. You both have platforms. At that time, because he had just started, we had roughly the same size platform. And then instead, I was like, yeah, of course. What the hell? I don't care. And you know what he said? He's like, oh yeah, whatever. This is boring me. I'm out. And for a long time, that was a weird interaction that bothered the hell out of me. I don't really give a shit about him being dismissive in general, but it wasn't like he was being dismissive in general. He knew that he didn't have to debate me because he had a cloak on. He has a protective shield of whiteness, and he knew it. And there was nothing I could do about it. If the movement depended on it, as a black man, there was nothing I could do about it. That shit hurt. Because it made me feel like I couldn't. Like, what the fuck? What use am I to the movement when gatekeepers like this exist and we can't get through? I've reached out to black women to try and help them come up on their channels, and like, you gotta go crazy. I try my hardest. They don't feel welcomed. They don't feel welcomed in this space. And can you fucking blame them? After I don't want to talk about everything that was going on with Sophia. And we love Sophia. Sophia was absolutely amazing. She was too fucking good for 18. That was the problem. She got too woke too fast. And I actually feel guilty about it. I genuinely feel guilty about it. The shit that she was getting on Twitter, the amount of insults to her intelligence, that's the smartest 18-year-old I have ever met in my goddamn life. And she'll never say it until she's older enough to understand what was happening. But personally, I know, because I've been 18, all of this, the feeling of powerlessness as a young woman of color, as a young Brazilian woman. She felt like she could never, why would I be part of a movement I can never change? That's heartbreaking for an 18. But to see, I'm a 30-year-old and I've been doing this for maybe 6-7 years now. To see that in an 18-year-old, as intelligent as Sophia was, breaks my heart. How do we get to a point where being intelligent as a woman of color is ridiculed because of how intelligent you are? Because you will not force yourself to unsee reality. You have less ability to make change. You get attacked more. That's what we taught as a movement. An 18-year-old ready to take off and do everything. She was canvassing in New York, canvassing in New Hampshire, spending hours live streaming, hours educating people on Twitter, hours educating herself, hours then cutting up those clips, then putting them on Twitter after watching hours of Tulsi Gabbard's videos. And what does the movement repay her with? You're stupid. You're clueless. You're dumb. That's what they repay her with. To the point where she felt like she couldn't change shit. Now, obviously, because I'm a fully matured adult, because I have more control of my life, because obviously I'm a fully matured adult, and I have stability that she's not going to have at 18. It's not possible unless she just becomes a famous singer tomorrow, which I hope happens. I can move on from the experience I have. I can pivot. I can do things that she just can't do yet. She will be able to, but I hope I can. Okay, let me say, I hope she will be able to, because after all of the things that she experienced, because I know I was experiencing them alongside her. You all know that. Fiorella, same thing. And weirdly enough, Pasta will tell you in ways that Pasta, before Robbie joined, but Pasta was the only person on the network who was not having his intelligence ridiculed, not having his, and possibly only white guy on the network. He never had his intelligence ridiculed. They may disagree with him, but they never insulted his intelligence. Only me, Fiorella, and Sophia went through that. Mike Figueredo was guilty of doing it. Michael Brooks was guilty of doing it. David Dole was guilty of doing it. Anna Kasparian was guilty of doing it. Emma Vigilant was guilty of doing it. And guess why? Because we can get away with it. That's why. You know who I am? Well, I'm a white man in society. I'm a white man. I'm a white woman with power, with influence in politics, in a sphere where I'm considered an intellectual. In American society, you think that you are going to challenge me? Think again. And we live in a society where Michael Brooks and Sam Cedar were known for debating. People like, bro, so why don't you just debate Niko then? I'm like, I'm with it. Nah, I'm bored. Where people laugh, Niko, you want to debate him? Ha, what you gonna do, debate him, bro? It's so lame. Wait, what? I thought that back in the day, that's what you do when you want to prove your point and you have the balls to stand up for your convictions. I thought that's what you do. I didn't know we rewarded people for avoiding intellectual discourse. Now, if Kyle Kulinski, or if Michael Brooks avoided Kyle Kulinski, if Kyle Kulinski avoided Michael Brooks, oh my God, all hell will break loose. All hell will break loose. And rightfully so. Don't start some shit if you're not willing to defend it. Me and Kyle debated me. We had a nice, friendly debate, and we moved on. He acknowledged my points, I acknowledged his points, and we moved on. And I still disagree with Kyle. So I disagree with Kyle a lot. Guess what? Because we can have intellectual discourse and an honest conversation with one another, we still can disagree respectfully, sometimes learn from one another and move on as friends and understand what our ultimate goal is. And because of that willingness to engage, I don't have to question whether or not he has ulterior motives. I mean, other than getting Bernie elected, because he makes that one pretty clear. But I don't wonder if Kyle is doing something to make his platform bigger, right? There are ways for him at this point in his career to make his platform bigger. He could copy, David Pakman style. I'm just going to appeal to the entire neoliberal left and the progressive left and take my L's where I have to, because I know I can make them back by pandering. But Kyle doesn't do that. Any goal he has, his ulterior motive is, I want to get Bernie Sanders elected, but it isn't because of his platform. It's because of something personal with Kyle. And I get it. I don't agree with him, but I get it. But because Kyle's willing to engage with me about that, to prove that Bernie is better in his eyes, lets me know, okay, it's really about Bernie. Even though I don't, once again, disagree with him. But I know that it's really about Bernie Sanders getting elected with him. That's the difference. At the end of the day, people like me, like Sophia, like Fiorella, like Johnny, Fiorella's little brother, we don't get opportunities in this industry unless we create them for ourselves. And then, of course, after that, everybody wants you on their show, and once they can, benefit from your presence on their show, that's when they want you. Oh, but hold up, let me be clear about that. Once they can benefit from your presence, and you don't have principled stances that expose them. Because the worst, and you call it what the fuck you want, so I really don't care at this point, but the worst thing that can happen to a white, quote unquote, intellectual gatekeeper, especially in this sphere, is the possibility that a black person or a person of color might just be smarter than them in a particular subject. That is the worst fear that all of them have. And you can bet that. And it is what it is. It's something that we've all of us have accepted a long time ago. Fiorella is the best female commentator, and Sophia was right up there. And I really, like I said, she always know the door is open. There was no. Oh, by the way, there was nothing bad between us. That it was literally just what I talked about. Personally, she had personal things that she had to take care of. She had to get her mental health right. She had to get her security and stability right, and we support her 100%. But Fiorella was the one out of all the female commentators who got Warren right. Not just, oh, we don't like Warren, but this is what Warren is trying to do. I'm warning you now. Pay attention. She got it right. Fiorella, even once again, able to endorse Bernie, but will tell you, look, this is what Tulsi is going to do. This is what she means. This is what's going to happen. I'm telling you now, she's the only one who gets it right every single time, foreign policy or domestic policy. And Fiorella, as a young woman of color, especially allying herself with a black man, because she could go the other way, right? She could, because she's somewhat, if you saw her in person, she's actually browner. Her makeup sometimes make her look lighter depending on what she's wearing, but she's actually browner in person. And she could be white passing, and she could take those other opportunities if she would just swing a little bit more to the neo-progressive left. But she's not going to do that. And because of that, oh, nope, you going to stand up to us? We could have accepted you. But no. Fiorella is an organizer. Okay? She organizes events for Bernie and progressives. Okay? She's an activist. She's out there not just organizing events for Bernie, she's knocking on fucking doors for Bernie. Oh, organizing events for both Bernie and Tulsi, knocking on doors for Bernie. She's an analyst, and one of the most fantastic analysts that I have. When I first found her, I was like, nobody picked feet. No, have y'all heard this woman? No. She won't walk the line. Can't bring her nowhere. And even given the fact that Fiorella has been right about literally everything since 2016 up until this point, that don't matter. She'll never get the opportunity that a lot of these white women gatekeepers get. Because she won't play ball. If she was Latina and played ball, different discussion. But, we're a family, so we go through it. We actually talk about this stuff. Like, this is like, we have real conversations. Like, this is what a lot of times our FaceTime conference calls are discussing, because this shit you really got to talk through. And I hope if you have people, my DMs are open, and I can't get to all of them all the time. So I'm sorry that if I can't, but everybody who's, has DM me knows, especially if I was able to follow you back on Twitter. It's like way too many to follow back at this point, but I still go check periodically through my requests. But if I follow you on Twitter and you DM me, I definitely try my hardest to respond, even if it might be a 4 or 5, sometimes a week, 2 weeks late because of what's going on. And some people just really need to have confirmation that they're not crazy, that they're not like questioning their reality, like that they're actually going through what they're going through. And I get it. Like I said, we have to talk about this stuff. You have no idea how many times, because me and Fiorella get so fucking just exhausted with dealing with it. Pasta will come to our defense, like when we're out, in California. Like, I'm fucking tired of this shit. Like, I'm tired of y'all seeing y'all have to deal with this. Like, tired of seeing us, and Pasta is included in this, but just as a person of color and a black man, I'm tired of seeing y'all being punished for being the smartest people in the room. I've never seen anything like this. And Pasta admits he learned so much just from living with Fee that he had never even realized, just because as a white man, he never had to experience it, never dealt with it. So it's as frustrating as it can be, it's also motivational. We use it, we channel it. We take pride in the fact that everybody constantly doubts us. And how often? I mean, all the shit we took for a year, over the last 2 days, it was worth it. We'll deal with it. That's why our motto amongst ourselves is, it's always hard being right 6 months in advance, all the time. But it's worth it when you get to days like these and you actually get to have people finally be open and listen. To be honest with you, people that were not open to listen to what I was saying before about Warren, which is sad, right? I acknowledged it earlier with the super chat from Nat. I said when she asked what was the best part about being vindicated, and I just told her, like, it actually, I don't know, I'm not sure if you call it the best part, but the truth is, being vindicated means that I was right about the fact that people didn't give a fuck about Warren and the way she emotionally abused Bernie and others, and how others emotionally abused and manipulated people for Warren, and how she, shitted on indigenous, shitted on Palestinians, didn't care about the marginalized that Warren has used on her way to the top. We were demanded to fall in line, and I said back in 2019 February, I said, but y'all will care whenever she throws Bernie under the bus. Bernie, you're white savior. Once again, if you're new to the channel, I support Bernie. I'm just saying this anecdotally, but I mean, it's still factual, but it's anecdotally, I mean, Bernie is a white savior. He is. But for them, it's once you attack their white savior and their money, because that's what Bernie is too. Bernie's a money train for a lot of these people. Oh, it's over. That's it. That's the only thing that changed. Did Warren just not pretend like she was Native American like 2-3 days ago? No, that still happened. So what changed? We must embrace pain and burn as fuel for our journey. Kenji Magazawa. Absolutely. Thanks, Nerdy Vegan. I appreciate the super chat. It's true. It can break you. It can break you, or it can motivate you. It can build you, and that's what we try to do here. And one day, when she's ready, we hope that Sophia will come back. We do. One day, when the movement is ready, for us to actually, not because right now we don't give a fuck if you want the change. We don't give a fuck if you want the truth. We gonna give it to you. You gonna accept it. If we gotta roast your ass for you to hear it, somebody gonna hear this goddamn truth today. That's for damn sure. But one day, we hope that people will stop seeing us as competition for their entitled role in this movement. They feel the role they feel entitled to, and start embracing us as allies, like Jimmy Dore has, like Kyle has. Kyle's come on my show, and first, for those of you who are always like, man, I don't understand why you and Kyle don't agree. We don't agree, bro. I say that shit all the time. I disagree with him on Scott. We don't agree all the time. It is what it is. I argue with my brother all the time. But when I walked into Politicon, Kyle found me immediately. Bro, we got to sit down for an interview right now. Like, as soon as you get a chance, text me. We're going to sit down for an interview. Kyle has always been very supportive. Friends outside, Lee Camp always embraced me, always popped me up. Ron Placone, Graham Elwood had me open up at their comedy show. Amazing time there. Tim Canova has always uplifted me, defending me on Twitter when somebody was using racist tropes against me, trying to question my intelligence. There are people out there that do absolutely speak up for us and welcome us, and at every opportunity celebrate the things that we've done. The DNC fraud lawsuit, Fiorella Impasta organizing the event for AOC out in California, obviously them organizing for Bernie, them going from 0 to 26,000 subscribers in a year after being suppressed. Just all the things that they do and the things that they sacrifice. And Robbie will begin to achieve as he started his new journey with us about a month ago. I know Robbie's amazing. Y'all have seen his writing. He's the one who broke. Think about it. All the major stories. Think about this. I'm gonna pat myself on the back real quick. I'm proud of this goddamn network and what we've achieved. And on this network, we broke the Hillary Clinton Victory Fund story, the DNC fraud lawsuit, which I am a co-creator of. The voter registration drops that just recently got reported in California that y'all remember getting talked about. Yeah, guess who reported that on Twitter months ago? Oh, actually almost a year ago. Fiorella did. And then she reported it here and she was ridiculed for it and called a conspiracy theorist. Elizabeth Warren, remember that story about we were the ones who broke her transferring that 10 million into her account, and what happened? We were attacked for it. And Emma Vigilant did an entire video, once again, insulting Fiorella's intelligence and gaslighting rather than addressing the substance of the issue. But we broke that story too, and we got attacked for it too. Obviously, everybody knows I was the one who broke the rigging story for Bernie Sanders, which many would say was the biggest story of 2016. I mean, probably rightfully so, right? Because we then found out through Donna Brazile that it was actually rigged. Sophia, much to the chagrin of Bernie, and unfortunately, Sophia was the one who told me and found out that Bernie created the legislation that led to the overthrowing of Gaddafi. And that's something that I've had to address because of it. I had to hold him accountable. It is what it is. But Sophia educated me more than most people even know. I've very much so valued Sophia's contributions here, and she knows that. We were the one who had the very first interview, the very first independent network interview with Tulsi Gabbard, presidential candidate. A presidential candidate who is going to the convention and who may run off with this bitch if you fuck around and mess with her. Better pay attention. We were the ones who exposed election integrity and election fraud issues in Tim Canova's race this past year. We were the ones who broke that story. We were the ones who also predicted TYT's little shift after that 20 million. We got Russiagate right, but that, there was very few of us on the left that got it right, but we got it right. When you look back at this network, no matter what happens, you can go back to 2016 where I had my iPhone camera in my car. We have not gotten one major story right, and almost every major story that is discussed on this internet, in this social media circle, almost every single one that has changed the shape of the progressive movement, the MCSC network broke. Robbie broke the CAA and UTA, where we found out that all the people that have been verbally assaulting Tulsi Gabbard happen to all be under the same agency, including members of TYT. He also broke the fact that Emma Vigilant had connections to Warren's family. Every major story, every major issue we have been right about, either been right about, or we were the ones who broke the story. We were asked, I was at Standing Rock. I'm single with no kids. And at the time, I was very fortunate enough to have a great following that helped us get there. But I was there. As I said in my earlier comment, the gatekeepers are among the con artists. Absolutely. Common technique used, gaslighting. 100%. 100%. Met all three when they were covering Tulsi November 11th. Love all three. Talked a while with Fee. She is fire. Absolutely, Beth. Absolutely. 100%. Um, Even before, because you know what one of the requirements for this network, right? You gotta can't just be analyst or a commentator or a pundit. You got to be an activist and an organizer too, where you can be. And for those of you who know who've been here from the womb, right? Y'all been here since the beginning. We were the ones, or at the time, because it wasn't a network yet, I was the one who had the largest Bernie Sanders organization in the country. In the country. Okay? A black man, and I was the only prominent black man that was known in the entire Bernie Sanders movement at the time, just by happenstance. And from that, instead of just riding the wave of power to the top, which I could have easily done, that was how I discovered the rigging. Oh, by the way, while running the largest Bernie Sanders organization in the country at Carolina Students for Bernie Sanders, while also being the president of North Carolina Colleges for Bernie Sanders, I was also the acting state director for Bernie Sanders. I was on the ground. I know how this shit works. I know when fakes are fakes. I know when a strategy is a losing strategy because I've been there. I've talked to the people. I know what it's about. And because of everything I just told y'all about this network, Fiorella's achievements, Pasta's achievements, Robbie comes on to the network with groundbreaking news. Sophia and everything that is exactly why they keep us out. You cannot have people of color and their experiences. It's the same reason that CEOs, like that's, I always tell people, it's less about when you're talking about like a Walmart. Why Walmart's billions and billions? What do you mean they don't want to give money to people and pay them? It actually is a financial incentive for them, right? Walmart employees spend their money in Walmart. Best Buy employees spend their money in Best Buy. Food Lion or wherever you live at, Costco employees want to spend their money in Costco. Why not just pay them more? Oh no, you pay them more, they want to have more opportunity. They have more opportunity, they might be coming for your job next. Because what happens when you have the marginalized who have been given every reason to fight and had to claw and crawl, get stepped on, get back up again, fighting for something bigger than themselves, their family. In the case of Fiorella and Johnny, they're immigrants. Their family, they're immigrants. They're Peruvian. Pasta, he actually has something. It's a whole different thing with Pasta, but he even has something he's fighting for. Somebody else, I'm not going to tell all the business, but his family he's fighting for all the time, and he absolutely needs to make this world a better place for his kids. And you take the marginalized, the stepped on, who have their own unique experiences, their own unique advantages in life that motivate them beyond anything that a person who has been luckily enough and blessed enough, right? There's nothing inherently wrong with being privileged and being born in a life where you don't have to worry about a lot of the things that people like myself or Fiorella or Johnny have to worry about. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. But understand, if we're talking about a meritocracy, well, the last time I checked, Fiorella was forced to learn everything white people in this professional world ordered us to learn. We had to learn their ways of thinking. We had to learn their education. We had to learn to speak like them. But there's a problem with that, huh? Because Fiorella can speak like you, and she can also speak Spanish too. She knows how your background and your experiences will shape your decisions, and through her experiences, she can pivot and take advantage of that to put herself in a better position to succeed. So you put us all on equal footing, well, then they might have to actually, compete. And when you've not had to compete for basically anything, like in a legitimate way against all the competition, not just the competition that's similar to you, that you can, it's easy to compete with competition you've had to film against, right? For all my sports people. But if you don't have film on them, you don't know how they're going to react. You don't know what they know about, because they know everything about you. That's what America teaches us. We have to learn everything about y'all. But you don't know, unless you've been there and you're from there, you don't know anything about my experiences and what I'm willing to do to succeed, and how much effort and energy I'm willing to put in, how much sleepless nights I'm willing to put in, and then who I'll bring along with me, because I appreciate all the people who help get me here, and how they might take over your friends' jobs, and they might actually have to compete for their jobs. That's what it's about. Cool Blue, thanks very much for the super chat. Henry Ford paid his employees above normal wage because Ford had trouble selling cars and he needed customers, including his employees, to buy his cars. Yeah, I mean, that's generally smart, right? Financially, it makes sense. Overbound Game Studio, thank you very much for the super chat. Yeah, that's a dope emblem. Sonic is awesome. I was just playing Sonic Adventure the other day. Warren's people were canvassing in my neighborhood in Iowa last week. I bet they found out their numbers were terrible and came up with the woman can't win story. Thanks for keeping the fight up. Yeah, basically that's what the general sentiment around all the campaigns are. I've talked to all three campaigns actually. Generally, everybody feels like you were getting your ass whooped, and that's why you did that, and it's sad. Bernard Johnson, thank you very much for the super chat, my friend. I don't think the general public is ready for this level of clarity, but what y'all do is super important as it shifts the Overton window. Man, I appreciate that. I really do. You know what? They're never ready for it. You're never ready to make the decision that you got to make to see progress. And society rarely is ready to embrace the progress, the people trying to change. No matter what they try to change that narrative, boy, they'll try their hardest to change that narrative about how Muhammad Ali was treated. They'll try their hardest to change the narrative about how Martin Luther King was treated. They don't really try that hard to change Malcolm X's narrative. They just call him violent. That's why you see Martin Luther King. They want to try to pacify the legacy of Martin Luther King. That's why they put MLK Boulevard, and then they teach you in the history books that he was about peace. It was Malcolm X, the mean one that nobody liked. He told you to defend yourself. Speak up for yourself. Oh, I don't do that. But in all seriousness, this is just I'm just letting y'all know like a glimpse of what we have to deal with. Like this. By the way, most of my audience, I know y'all already know a lot of this, like even if we don't talk about it that often or at all, because I know Fiorella does barely talks about it, because women have to deal with shit like this more than I gotta deal. As a black man, my experiences are unique, and I can joke about it a little bit more. I feel like I can defend myself most times, and so but as a woman, it's a whole different game. Talk about going outside and always being fearful for your life. That's being a woman. Now imagine being a woman of color, where you know if you were white, your face would be plastered all over the news if you went missing. But you're a Latina, so if you go missing, you ran away and you just wanted to go be gone. That's how that works. So, you know, Fee, I joke with Fee all the time. We always call her the queen of the network, and you know. But that's because I understand. I know when you hear Fee talk, when you hear how passionate she is, you know that's coming from something. When you hear Nina Turner talk, that's coming from something. Tulsi, that's coming from something. When Pasta jumps up and he puts his white savior cape on, you know, even Pasta can be a white savior sometimes. That's okay to be one sometimes. Sometimes we need y'all. Like, but let us try to handle it first, please. And if we can't handle it, give us some autonomy, okay? Believe in our self-determination. We all right, we good. But every now and then, we got to fight fire with fire. Pasta is one of those guys who will jump in faster than anybody else. Bernie is one of those guys. Don't mess with his people. I love one of my favorite sports commentators is Max Kellerman. That dude, he be going in. He defended Kaepernick more than anybody else. He did not let. He still refused to let the NFL off the hook for that shit. And we need that. But when we need it and when we ask for it, or when it's appropriate, which it depends on the circumstance. But the way that these people, they fight, that's not coming. Why do you think, like, Super Friday, Toast 2020, hey, you right. But why do you think that if I get mad, which I've gotten mad several times here, what do I usually get mad about? If I get mad at something, I'm like pissed off over policy or the way someone else is treated, right? Generally. I'm just as mad, I feel, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, when Bernie is done wrong or his policy is misrepresented, as I am when Tulsi's done wrong and her policies are misrepresented. And I might have a slight bias towards her because she's a woman and being raised by a single mother and knowing the truth of life for women who, especially women who are attractive, it's always easy for them to get the job. It is damn near impossible for them to be the boss. Oh, and if you're intelligent, that's not good for you. Not in this world. And so I probably lean a little bit more. And that, by the way, that didn't start when I endorsed it. That started in 2017. And same thing with Nina, right? Like, I will always be more mad about the misrepresentation of policy or somebody being mistreated for fighting for the truth. I will, how Julian Assange, Chelsea Manning. That's why whenever I'm hearing, like, I hear people get like so worked up, like they're so pissed about Elizabeth Warren. They're so pissed. You know when the last time those people mentioned Julian Assange and Chelsea Manning? When it was in the news cycle, and they can get some clicks off of it. No tweets about it. No nothing. Never invited Susie Dawson on their channel. Everybody knows who Susie Dawson was. Whenever they thought they could get some clout off of her former Assange vigils, well, they were quick to sign up then. After that, what happened? That shit angers me. And I have to learn how to handle it better sometimes. It angers Fiorella and Pasta. And I have conversations with it. Can you imagine me having a conversation with them? Guys, we have to calm down. Okay? We are all collectively too goddamn triggered and angry. We got to chill. But I know. We crazy. We're crazy as network. We get popping. We get it popping. But in all seriousness, like, every day I wake up angry about Julian Assange. There's not one day I don't get upset about what's going on with Julian Assange and Chelsea Manning. Not one single day. I don't show it all the time. But there's some days where I can't help it. But other people, when they pretend to be mad about policy, when they pretend to be mad about certain things, and like they're barely mentioning the policy, they don't do any research on the policy itself. Like, you can tell by the rhetoric, they start quoting the person that they're agreeing with, being condescending, and never actually addressing the substance. And then when you try to engage them directly, hey, let's just debate about this, then they avoid you. Then when they avoid you, you know exactly what it was always about. It wasn't about the policy. It was about, you thought you were right about something, and you might be wrong about something. And that could ultimately affect how people perceive you. And people on the left are sensitive. We are a sensitive group. We don't like being looked down upon because of being marginalized and everything that comes with that for your entire life. So we definitely use all this stuff, like what happened to yesterday with Warren, and because now what that showed us, obviously it exposed Warren. She's done. We'll never have a Warren presidency. That's great. If it had to come the way it came, then so be it. And shout out to all of you all. And Fiorella, she was talking about it too. And she thanks you all as well. Shout out to everybody who was saying, hey, we were wrong about you guys. We're so sorry. Sorry for attacking you. You were right about Warren. Like, sorry for attacking Tulsi. You're right. We got to unite. Fuck those guys. Like, we appreciate it. We do. And for all of you who have been willing to listen to us and help understand why we were so frustrated and being open-minded without being judgmental, we greatly appreciate it. And we know now that next time when we're having these conversations that those people will now be more likely to listen. And does it take a little bit longer doing it this way? Clearly. Would I have preferred for Warren to be taken out earlier? Absolutely. But, you know, the universe as it should be, or is as it should be. Pete Buttigieg is more progressive than Tulsi Gabbard. Can you guess what I'm smoking? Heroin? I don't know. Angel dust? Like what? But yeah, it's because it's harder to do it this way, right? You gotta toe and sew. Like you're it's a grind. It's a get up. I guarantee we have to work harder than anybody else in this bitch. I guarantee it. How many videos we got up today? And we're working against the algorithm with no help from anybody. Blue checks that all follow us but don't want to retweet us, but they'll like our tweets every now and then. But they don't want to retweet us like they retweet the other ones, the other blue checks, because we don't want them to get to this level. They're cool when they're agreeing with us, so we keep them. We'll like it every now and then. You know what I'm saying? Keep them in the fold. But we can't have them getting retweeted without blue checks. They might expose that we don't know as much as we thought we did. We don't want other people to know that. It might affect the pocketbook. But we appreciate you guys. We do. We appreciate you. We appreciate everybody who stuck by this entire time, who was calling it for what it was and calling it for what it is still. Definitely, like, the DMs, the constant emails of support. Yeah, it helps. It does. I reached out to a friend yesterday on the Bernie campaign, a very good friend of mine, that we got close at Politicon, and just through our experiences in this space, because she's gone through the exact same thing. And I thought that she was perfectly fine, but something just told me to reach out to her. Because, you know, on Twitter, we're all good at putting our game faces on. That's what we got to do sometimes, especially when you're a surrogate. And, you know, she was, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I needed this. I've been getting hit all day. I've been getting attacked all day. And I'm so glad you reached out. So, getting that from anybody, we appreciate it. Okay? We really do. So if I hadn't responded to your email, because I literally get like 120 emails a day, y'all are, hey, I ain't saying don't send them, because y'all send me some great shit. Okay? Y'all send me some great stuff. Hold up. Y'all really, okay, let me go ahead and check this damn audio out, because y'all are tripping over this audio right now. Y'all want to see my live reaction before I go? Because nobody else is going to be able to see this, because this is getting clipped up after. This is just for y'all, and then for the premium members on Rockfin, and then for the Patreon members. But I'm going to look for it. Is it on Twitter? Handshake Gate. Yeah, good. Okay. First of all, that's exactly what I thought Bernie said to Steyer. Hold on, for those of you who didn't hear it. Oh, I forgot. Y'all can hear it. Give me a second. I'm gonna pull it up for you.
What?
I think you called me a liar on national TV.
Let's not do it right now. You want to have that discussion, we'll have that
Anytime.
discussion. You called me. You told me. All right, let's not do it now.
I don't want to get in the middle of it. I just want to say hi, Bernie.
Yeah, good. Okay.
First of all, question. I have a question. I have a question for you. I have a question for you guys. Bear with me for a moment. You don't think that Elizabeth Warren knew that Mike was hot? This is gonna be Tom Steyer's highlight reel. Yeah, right. But y'all don't think Elizabeth Warren knew that Mike was hot? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Do you not? You don't. Not only was the mic hot, but once again, which had to get at least approval, because you heard Sanders' mic sounded muffled, because it was literally just being you were hearing his voice through Warren's mic. Warren's mic was hot, which likely means CNN had to get Warren's permission to release the audio. So after Never Warren starts trending all over Twitter, Warren is a snake starts trending all over Twitter, all of a sudden Warren's mic, or the conversation picked up by Warren's mic, is released to the world, where she gets to, I think you called me a liar on national TV. Like I just said at the beginning of the video, in case you all missed it, and I strongly urge for you all to go back and watch it. Emotional abusers gaslight, especially when they can get the public opinion on their side and make themselves a victim and make you look like the one who was the guilty party. That's how they get away with it for so long. I'm just saying. And I'm glad that Bernie shut that shit down. I'm glad he didn't not say anything, because it would have looked bad if he didn't. Like if he just like, I just want to talk about this right now, bro. It would have looked bad. But he was like, I think you called me a liar. Like, but she walks up and that's not Warren's style, right? Will we agree with that? It's not Warren's style. She's not aggressive. She doesn't engage, especially in battles she knows she's going to lose, unless she feels like somehow, some way, she had been given an advantage or a leg up, and she can win. So you're gonna go and engage with Bernie Sanders on national TV and make a spectacle, and you didn't know your mic was hot, and then CNN just drops a clip of Warren's hot mic as she's getting dragged through the mud? Yeah, okay. I guarantee. She's like, hey Warren, gonna dig me a hole, gonna put myself in it. Keep digging your hole. Keep digging your hole. Super Friday, you said she's aggressive towards Bernie because he's not really aggressive himself. We talked about this. Like I said, for everybody else, I strongly encourage you all to watch the beginning of this video. It is a video describing how Warren is an emotionally abusive manipulator, and so is the power structure and the powerful people who push her and demand that we act like this shit didn't happen. And guess what they're going to say? They should make up. You planted this. Again, CNN admitted you planted the story the first time. But they're going to say, we can't split the family up. Why? Because you want to make money by pushing both Warren and Bernie, and you don't want to get ostracized from a job from either staff or campaign or from the future jobs that you can get with either of them or their supporters. Come on, bro. Abuse is about power and control at its core. I'm glad that audio was released, because I'm glad that Bernie said exactly what we thought he did. We're not going to, you call me a liar. We're not going to do this right now. Psst, skr. Yeah, actually, I think you called me a liar first. Exactly. And what's funny is that I think that Bernie was actually caught off guard. I think that, because you see the way he was like, you call me, he's like, huh? Like, what, bitch? Oh, he was confused, bro. He was like, actually, I think you called me a liar first. Did you not just hear the speech I just gave? And she comes up, and if you listen, I guess, well, you could say they were clapping and stuff, right? So maybe she was speaking loudly. She was speaking loudly because, but that just, the way she did it was, she didn't come in close, and because that's what happens, right? Even when Bernie and Tulsi talk at events, it's like they have something to say to each other, they get beside each other, even if it's louder. And even if you don't necessarily like somebody or you don't get along with them. Bernie, or for example, Amy Klobuchar and Tulsi talked at the veterans event in California. They when they had to say something that they felt was necessary, they would lean over because they know there's cameras everywhere. The only incentive you would have from being arm's distance, speaking that loudly, pretending like he's not right there in your fucking face and speak like, just, you call me a liar. I think you called me a liar on national TV with all the candidates there. Bro, you were trying to start drama. That's what you were trying to do. And you were keeping this in your holster in case shit didn't go the way you thought it was going to go on social media. It didn't go the way you thought it was going to go. And then what's even worse for Warren is women in mainstream media. In the mainstream media, we're shutting her down today. That ain't a good look. That ain't a good look. 20 days out from Iowa. Hey, it is what it is. Ain't my problem. That's for sure. So I appreciate you all sticking around. Make sure, if you want to watch the whole live stream, it's going to be available on Rockfin Premium, and it's going to be available on Patreon. But the first part of this stream will be available again sometime this evening. But it's only going to be the initial video. All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into that live stream segment of Mi Casa es Su Casa. I hope it was cathartic for you as it was for me. Always remember, find your balance. Peace.